Jack, the conductor, Bob Grant, was always backing Reg up, but also did him down here and there and here.
Bob Grant, yeah. Jack, yeah. He was another one. He's a lot of fun, Jack. We were waiting to film, and I wanted this shot of us pulling up, a few people getting on, and then him ringing the bell. And I'm waiting for him to ring the bell, see. This is in the script, see, and he doesn't. I shout out, What's the matter, Jack? What are you waiting for? We're running late. And I can hear he's having a row with somebody. And this group of people wanted to get on and he wouldn't let them. He said, you let those people on. They never understood. When you say to them we're working, that's something they never understood. But it's hilarious. They used to look at you blank, and they thought you was winding them up, you know.
She was having a little bit of fun with Jack. I had this scene with Bob on the bed, and then it was all going, quick, I'm grabbing this and grabbing that, and it was really funny.
Bob Grant was in pyjama tops in the evening at the Whitehall Theatre in London. After shooting here at Elstree, he'd have a car waiting for him to take him to the Whitehall Theatre in pyjama tops.
It's a funny thing to wear, isn't it?
Two jobs coming.
Yeah.
So opposite Reg Varney's Stan Butler, the driver of the bus, you've got Bob Grant's Jack, the bus conductor, toothy, leery, lecherous, cheeky chappy type character. And yet the actor who played him, Bob Grant, was anything but that. He was 37 when he joined. He looked somewhat older, I think. He'd been to RADA. He'd worked with Stephen Lewis with the Joan Littlewood School. He'd actually been in the Royal Artillery. He was a lieutenant in the Royal Artillery as well early on. And he'd done a lot of stage work. But Ronald Wolfe and Ronald Chesney, the writers, saw him and thought, this is the ideal person to play this sort of cheeky chappy, Jack the lad, if you like, bus conductor. And he did it, and he did it so well.
Shooting the film, we suddenly had an idea. I remember we had an idea in those days. The conductor on the buses had a thing. He turned a handle and the tickets came out like that. So he agreed with Reg that they'd be late at the bus thing, and all the people were scrambling to get on the buses. So they'd hand the money to the conductor and dash upstairs, and he'd do this and he'd do this. Turn about 10 tickets out. You see, wait until the bus went down, then he turned the handle the other way, and all the tickets went back into the machine. And so Reg, I remember, told to Roy Skeggs, and he said, "Do you think it'll work?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, okay, I'll fix it." And he got the machine fixed that it would go backwards. And it was a huge laugh, you can
Not
imagine.
with the bus companies, though. They rather thought that somebody would give them an idea to their conductors.
Yes, you didn't always get on very well with them, obviously.
Yeah, Bob Grant had been worked on the buses in real life for a short while. He's had various jobs, and then he was cast as Jack in On the Buses, the lecturous one.
Stephen Lewis and Bob Grant had both come from the Joan Littlewood stable, so they could create anything. And I think Stephen was absolutely hysterical because he would be given a line saying, "Oh no," and that would develop into a series, you know, "Oh no, 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 but," and I mean, it was just extraordinary. He built his part from nothing to more or less the second lead in the show.
So I was a method actor from learning from Joan, that what you do is you relate the part to something that you know or knew about. And I thought, this guy was somebody who had been a sergeant in the army, and he was able to control the men under him with all that force behind him. He didn't have it now, so he was frustrated. So he was like, I'll get you, Butler, I'll get you, I'll have you with this.
Him and Stephen were really good pals and went through the boards together in Joan Littlewood Theatre, and so they already had a chemistry between them by the time it came to doing On the Buses, and they knew how to bounce off each other.
Well, I think, because yes, when we saw him in 71 and 72, he would have been, like you say, busy working, very popular. Everything was going quite well for him. He was writing On the Buses with Stephen Lewis, some of the episodes. That was carrying on, doing the film, like you say, doing theatre in the evening. It's only when I think On the Buses finished, and he was still doing the odd bit of theatre from time to time, that it's the same old scenario, but you'd only get offered jobs which were like Jack, basically.
They wrote later on because Ronnie Wolf and Ronnie Chesney had gone over to America to do writing over there for Lots of Luck, which was another version of On the Buses. He did it so well that he did find it difficult. The best he could do is pantomimes and farces on stage and everything. Although he was a good actor in his own right, he just couldn't get the work that he wanted.
He never appeared on television again after the mid-1970s because he was typecast. And this was a rock around his neck for the rest of his life. He could only get parts on stage if he was playing that sort of lecherous, cheeky, chappy character. And as an actor, he found that frustrating. And sadly, he committed suicide in 2003.
There's lots of world-famous actors who are known for their name, and I think you'd have to think very hard to remember what they did and what the name of the character was that they did, wouldn't you? Lots of very famous film actors from the 30s and 40s. You can remember the names and everyone knows the names, but could you suddenly say what film they were in and what the name of that film was and what character they played in it? Not necessarily so at all.